Hey guys, you're welcome to anything and everything in between.
Come on.
This is episode 7 and we are so glad to be here.
And thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for keeping up with the episodes. Hopefully, they've been valuable to you.
Yes, and please follow, subscribe to this
Stories
channel, the Collective UG, so that you don't miss out
on anything. And you can also support the mission of the Collective UG. The Collective UG exists to help young people find purpose in God for life on earth. And everything we do is made possible by partnerships, friends, and people who just contribute financially to it. So ways that you can donate are in the description as well.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about being comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it possible to remove your skin if you're not comfortable?
Well, it's not.
What does it mean to be comfortable in your own skin?
Well,
think of like those sweaters which you wear, which are like really itchy. It's really because you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But what can you do if you're uncomfortable in your own skin?
Well, I think there is a good way around it.
Yeah?
The best thing to do is to be comfortable in your own skin.
To learn to get comfortable
in
your own skin.
What does it look like? Give us an example of what it means to be comfortable in your own skin.
So there is this thing called the imposter syndrome. Have you heard of it?
Yes, but I don't know it.
You've heard of it. So what have you had? What have they told you? You've had someone use the phrase. Imposter syndrome. This is when the person that you think you are is not qualified to do the thing that you're trying to do. So it's almost like there's this expectation. For example, you're starting a business, but then you're like, I'm not a business person.
Yeah.
That's the imposter syndrome that is lingering in your brain, and it is disqualifying you from executing a business. So becoming comfortable in your own skin would be becoming comfortable with your attributes, the things that define you, that constitute who you are. Becoming comfortable enough with those things that you're able to assess your strengths, your weaknesses, and work appropriately to get the thing that you need to do done. Yeah, that's comfortable in your own skin. So, for example, when I was in my high school, I think like O-level, this one day I was wearing these nice shorts. It's a very rare sight. No one ever sees me wearing shorts because of this reason. But I was wearing these nice shorts, and then guys laugh. They made jokes. They were like, my legs look like poles. Like these electricity poles. So for that reason alone, I will never wear shorts. I'm just very uncomfortable with people seeing the rest of my legs. But you know what? They're the legs I have. Well, I guess I don't know if there's anything you can do to change the legs you have, but it is what it is. You get what you get. There's some things about you that you can't change. You can't change the color of your skin. You can't change the size of your eyes. Well, I guess, there's plastic surgery and all kinds of things that people do to change their physical attributes. But generally speaking, that is being really uncomfortable in your skin, that you have to go the extra mile to change what you look like. But being comfortable in your own skin would mean that, you get comfortable with what you have. So I don't wear shorts, but, I could wear shorts. And I don't want people to see me in shorts. So the main reason I'm not wearing shorts is because of other people. But being comfortable in my own skin would mean that, if I want to wear shorts, let me wear the shorts. Because, they're comfortable. They're not offensive. Just I'm the one who is insecure. Yeah.
Wow.
Comfortable in your own skin.
I like that story. So for a person who this topic is I think it goes also in the line of insecurities. So how does someone deal with being insecure about something or not being comfortable with who they are? It could be something they could change, but
I mean, there the things you can change about yourself, and if you're the things which are worth changing, you need to be comfortable enough to talk about them in order to do something about them. If you're so uncomfortable, like you can't talk about them, it means that, you know, even the things that you could do to improve yourself, to grow yourself, you never really explore them because you're too uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's a pain point, you know. But getting comfortable with where you are, let me say it that way. Getting comfortable with where you are gives you permission to set goals and say, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable enough or finding safety, enough safety to talk about it with people, puts you in a position where then you can now start growing yourself and becoming a better person. See, we have people who are watching this. I learned this not too long ago, and I like it because they call them what? Planned kids.
Yeah.
So planned kids, what? They went to good schools. Your parents have protected you. Like you're a planned kid. So in a lot of ways, you might not relate with some insecurities.
Yeah.
But you know, there's some pain points that people could have. You grew up being treated a certain type of way, and so you don't feel like a planned kid.
I get that point.
Maybe your parents talked to you a certain type of way. Maybe your siblings talked to you a certain type of way. You basically properly feel like an unplanned person. And that, you know, I can imagine the extent to which that can create a heavy imposter syndrome. Because in every space you go into, you walk in with that identity of I'm an unplanned child, you know. And I think to grow past that, a person like, if that is you, you need to find safety, a safe zone where people you can talk to can also, you know, give you the other side of the story, which is that you have purpose. You're still a child that God cares about. His eye is on you. We were talking about that yesterday. El Roy, the God who sees me. Like God's eye is on you. And even though your background might be unplanned, God was not like, oh my gosh, who is this child that all of a sudden exists? All of a sudden appeared. No. Every moment of your life, He has known of its existence, and He's also known of its potential, of the purpose that you carry. And so finding safety, a good, healthy environment where you can talk to people and start to chip away those things that make you feel insecure can be good. It can help you move past the imposter and start to discover purpose, which is awesome. There's this guy in Judges chapter number 6. His name is Gideon. The Bible tells us that when the angel of the Lord appeared to him in Judges chapter 6 verse 12, he called him mighty hero. This is what he said. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. Verse 14, the Lord turned to him and said, go with the strength that you have and rescue Israel from the Midianites. I'm sending you. That's a powerful phrase. He says, go with the strength that you have, which means the strength you need to do the thing.
He already has it.
You already have it. And then he says, you go and rescue Israel. Means these people who are suffering, he's the one who's going to rescue them. And then he said, I'm sending you. So those are three things. He said, you're a mighty hero. The strength you need for this really powerful task, you already have it. And by the way, I'm the one who's sending you. There is like times when we can go into situations because we sent ourselves there, and God never sent you there. What are you doing there? You're going to struggle, and the only strength you're going to carry is the one you physically have. And that means you're going to succeed or fail based on your own muscles. But it's different when God sends you, because now the strength that you have is the strength that He's carrying alongside you, because He's the one sending you. And that's very different. That one's not measured in the size of muscles. That one is measured in faith and really just God. But listen to Gideon's response. Verse 15, Gideon says, how can I rescue Israel. Here comes the imposter. He says, my clan is the weakest. My whole tribe of Manasseh. Yeah, like my clan is the weakest in the whole tribe of Manasseh. Yeah. And I am the least in my family. So if my clan was at least a bit strong, but
maybe.
My clan is weak. Okay, so that's the first benchmark of not being qualified. Yeah. Then it's like, in addition to my clan being weak,
my family,
I am
the least.
The least in my entire family, cousins, whatever, the least. And here was God's response. He said, I will be with you. I will be with you. I find that extremely comforting. When God appeared to Moses, Moses was like, me? How are you sending me? I'm not the guy. And God's response was, I will be with you. Jeremiah, God calls Jeremiah and says, I've anointed you. I've called you to be that prophet to the nations. Jeremiah is like, but I'm too young for that assignment. Yeah. And I'm thinking like Jeremiah, before him there were prophets, Elijah, Elisha, some really profound guys who did some special looking things. And I think he would have had their stories. He would have seen some of them, and maybe they looked old and a certain type of way. And so he says, the thing you're asking me to do, I don't resemble that thing because I'm too young. The imposter kicks in. And God's response is, don't say you're too young, because I will be with you.
So does that mean that like our insecurities can easily stop us from doing what God wants us to do? Because these examples that we've had, these people finally they got comfortable in their own skin and they were able to do God's will. But
I don't know if they all got comfortable at first. Yeah. Because you see, Moses persisted in refusing to go until God was like, you know what, Aaron is there, go with him. And the Bible tells us that God was actually angry with Moses in that moment, but Moses was persistently refusing to go. Gideon was like, if you're truly going to send me, you're going to give me some evidence, signs, and even after all that, I think the discovery of what was possible came along the way. Like they doubted, but they went while doubting. Yeah. Gideon went while doubting. Moses went while doubting. And along the way, they saw God do what he said he was going to do. And I think the courage to believe God came in their journey. As they walked, as they went still doubtful. Yeah. But God, responded, and he demonstrated himself. He confirmed that, by the way, I'm the one here. If Gideon had to lift a sword and fight 1,000 Midianite soldiers in order to succeed, then Gideon would have been like, man, I was really strong, I was awesome. But in the end, Gideon just stood on the hillside and watched God confuse these guys. If Moses went and killed Egyptian soldiers in order to redeem the people of Israel, then he would have been like, man, I'm actually as strong as God said I was. But in the end, he just went and he observed as God did everything. Wow. And I think that's what happens, is that you might still doubt, you might have a hard time believing, but just go and do the thing God has said to do. In the process of going, God does the thing, and then now faith increases. Yeah. So by the time Moses, and I like this story about Moses because in going to Egypt, he was like, you've sent the wrong guy. Are you sure you're sending me? I can't even talk. You know what? Let's find someone else. That's the attitude he had going. After all the signs and wonders have happened in Egypt, the Israelites leave Egypt and they're coming back, and they're on their way towards Sinai, and they've camped at the Red Sea. When the Egyptian guys come to kill them, what happens is, in their complaining, you should have left us in Egypt, we could have died, and blah, blah, blah. Moses is the one who stands up. God has said nothing, but he stands up and says, guys, relax. God is going to rescue us. These Egyptians, you see now, you'll see no more. There is no need for you to do anything. What a phrase. That's Exodus 14:14. He said, there is no need for you to do anything. And that's something Moses learned, because when God sent him, he understood that he just had to go and say, but the doing, there was no need for him to do anything. God was going to deliver them from. So even in that moment, he's remembering, look, this is what God has been doing. So even now, there's no need for you to do anything. God is going to fight for you, and the Egyptians you're seeing now, you'll not see anymore.
Yeah.
And then God comes and he says the wildest thing. I'm trying to wrap my head around why he said what he said.
Yeah.
But he was like, why are you still here?
Yeah.
It's almost like, I don't know, like, did you expect us to be already moving?
Yeah.
He's like
swimming.
He's like, why are you still here?
Yeah.
Lift your stuff already and watch, like the water will part and you walk on dry land. Man, that phrase confuses me, but I find it really fascinating because like Moses had changed in his heart. He went from disbelief to an extreme level of belief. And now God is saying, by the way, everything that you need to do right now, I've already put it in your hands. Raise that stuff. The water is going to open, you're going to walk. And again, like him is raising his stuff, but like, I don't know how many sticks you need to raise in order for water to open. It's God who opens the water.
Yeah.
It's God who does all the work. And I think that's why whenever we ask him, but God, you've got the wrong guy. I'm not qualified for this. His answer is,
I'll be with you.
I'll be with you.
Wow. And I feel like he does that like through his grace, because it helps us to be humble.
Yeah.
Like, because imagine if Moses was so good at speaking and he had everything figured out, he probably would have, I don't know,
been a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like on his weakest day, that's what happened. On his weekday, he came down, God told him to speak to the rock and water would flow out of it for the people of Israel. And then Moses comes and is like, do we have to bring water from a rock? He put himself in the equation.
Yeah.
And then instead of speaking it, he struck it. Yeah. And on that day, God was like, nah, brah, that's not how it's supposed to work. It is God who does everything. And we get to be his conduit. So, I mean, talking about being comfortable in your own skin, that is also like a cautionary tale, I guess. Like, don't
thank you.
Don't over assume to be operating on God's wavelength, because like there is God and then there is me, and God is the one carrying everything that he has said he's going to do. I am his humble servant who has the privilege of witnessing it, of talking about it, of encouraging people about it. But at no point should I get confused and think that I have become equal with God because God has invited me to labor alongside him. That can become pride, and God humbles the pride. The proud. I said the pride. God humbles the proud. My gosh. We're not editing. God humbles the proud.
Yeah.
So there's being comfortable in your own skin. That's having courage to do what God
to be obedient.
But we shouldn't confuse it with over applying ourselves to the point where we think that we are at his level. We are not. We're just useless people without Jesus. And Jesus is the one who has rescued us and given us this great opportunity to participate.
Wow. Another question. So like being comfortable in your own skin, realize that there's some things that we can change and some things we can't change. So what's the line between like choose, like understanding that I can change this and then you choose to work on it, or accepting that I can't change this and I have to learn to live with it? Yeah,
I think I would go a different phrase there. Not have to learn to live with it, but have to learn to love it. Yeah, like the color of your skin, man.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go and change it. The technology exists for that. But you can also fall in love with it. You can realize that God who designed you and said, this is good. And being uncomfortable with it for the variety of reasons that exist, it's a lie. It's a lie. Being comfortable with it is accepting the truth that God thinks
this
you're
is
wonderful.
Best, yeah.
This is amazing. And so I think there are things about myself that I'm very uncomfortable with that can be improved. Health-wise, character-wise. There's just so many things that I could definitely improve.
Yeah.
And those things, I need to acknowledge that, hey, here's an improvable part of me. And it's worth improving because it makes me a better person, more valuable to people, to the work that God is calling me to do, more able to do a lot of things well, to live long enough to serve whatever purpose God has planned for me. It's more of like a responsibility question. In the places of your life where improvement can happen, it's your responsibility to improve.
Yeah.
And then there are places of your life which you have no business creating. Like you weren't there with God when you're saying, now let's make that nose a little bit bigger. Or a little bit smaller. God said, man, you need oxygen in your brain. This is the amount of oxygen you need. So there's some things you can't change. Those ones you've got to learn to just
love them.
To love them. Not to live with them, but to actually love them, because that's God's design and it's purposeful. Everything is purposeful. There are things that can be improved.
Yeah.
We're talking about things that can be improved. Character, skill, health.
Yeah.
Those are things worth working on, and it's our responsibility to work on them because God gives us the seed for those types of things to grow them.
You have to water them.
You have to water them and just really become who God intended for those things, what God intended for those things to be in our lives. Leadership, God has called you to lead. You've got to work on it, become a better leader. Skill, man, when you're young, you just have like so much opportunity to learn how to do so many things.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth working on, putting in the time and the effort to sharpen the skills that God has given you, so that you can become exactly who God designed you to be. And those are opportunities to grow.
Yeah.
Learning those things and getting past your insecurities to become good at those things, I think is valuable.
Yeah.
There's a story I have. In high school, we had this song. So, man, we had this club called YCS.
Yeah.
And we'd do these competitions with like different schools. So I wasn't in any club in school. I just participated a couple of times because of dancing. We used to dance. So they'd call us to dance, make waves.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wasn't really in clubs, but I was like entertainment. I would go and participate for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
But this one time, this guy who was leading the choir, we had a YCS competition to do, and they'd written a song, and he came to me and he said, could you help to finish writing this song? And I was like, yeah, of course. And now I was properly feeling myself properly proud.
Yeah.
And I felt like I never said it, but in my mind I'm like, it's your honor
to be asking me.
Anyway, so I went to help. We finished writing the song, and then they gave me a verse to sing, and they asked if I could dance towards the end of that verse. And I had this Tom who was on the podcast here. That's the idea. He made the beat, so like I was like, oh, I will dance to that. Can easily dance that. And the beat was really nice. Yeah. So he made that beat using like those keyboards of those days where you'd make beats, PSR, Yamaha, something. Anyway, so before we'd go for the competition, the night before, we were to present it to the school. With the headmaster watching, so he'd give us feedback. Yeah. Man, there were no microphones, so he had to sing loud and project so the whole room can hear. So I went and I sang. In my mind, remember, to this moment, I thought, I got the stuff. I went and I sang. Before I knew it, I don't know which key I was in. It was horrible. Trying to be loud made me sing in a different key. It was bad. So when we finished, the headmaster is like, man, once again, you guys are just going to disappoint us. So our school was at that point were not performing very well in those competitions. So it's like, you guys are just going once again to disappoint us, to embarrass our school, especially that guy who sang the last verse talking about me. My gosh, let me tell you, the whole school was there, so it was publicly embarrassing. And when something like that happens, you can decide that, you know what, I'll never do this again. It was embarrassing, it was bad. Or you can learn and improve and grow. Because imagine if I said, you know what, I'll never do this again, music would not be a part of my life. And a lot of the opportunities I've gotten in my life have been because I stuck with it, because I worked on it. And I didn't work on it because I was confident that I had the ability to. But I just accepted the challenge, you know? That's a strong point for me. That I didn't quit on music entirely. That being said, it did make me very insecure about many things. And it took me years to become properly comfortable about how I sound when I sing. Enough to do it publicly. It took me a hot minute to get comfortable with that. But yeah, you can grow through things, or at least you can, you know, make effort to become a better person. Come on.
Thank you so much. I think we're done.
Alrighty, she said, I think we're done. I can't argue with that, but thanks for tuning in. Hope you've had some encouraging words. Let us know in the comment section. Are there things that you found yourself struggle with, become uncomfortable about yourself because of those things? Are they things that you can grow in, or are they things that you need to learn how to love? What are they, and how are you dealing with that? Let's have a conversation. Let's go.